Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are undertaking a massive transformation, and I mean massive. I want you to imagine, just for a second, starting with this giant, completely unrefined block of stone. Think of that block as representing everything, and I mean literally everything you've memorized for your Cambridge exams. All the raw data, the endless technical terms, the thick textbook definitions. It's heavy, right? Now, if you just walk into the exam hall and throw that massive heavy block of facts at an examiner, well, they aren't going to give you top marks. They're going to give you a headache. We don't want to be heavy lifters today. We need to be sculptors. We need to intentionally chip away the irrelevant bad habits, the unstructured brain dumps, and those panicked, rushed answers to reveal a perfect, masterpiece exam response. So in this explainer, we are applying what I like to call the sculptor's method. And we're applying it to a highly specific, notoriously tricky area of the syllabus, Cambridge Information Technology 9626. We're going to focus on the critical core concepts that actually bridge across multiple Cambridge subject codes. I'm talking about the stuff that actually moves the needle on your final grade.
Now you might be wondering, why are we focusing so heavily on this one specific topic today? Because this single area, utility software, accounts for a massive 15% of the total marks in Paper 2 of your Information Technology 9626 exam. Let that sink in for a moment. 15%. That is literally the difference between an A and a C grade, and it's sitting entirely within one concentrated cluster of questions. It's a goldmine, but it's also a minefield. You simply cannot afford to lose easy marks here. Throughout this explainer, I'm going to be sharing exactly what senior examiners are looking for behind the scenes. To do this, we're going to look at two hypothetical students. First, we have Alex. Alex is the kind of student who overloads his answers with raw IT facts, but includes absolutely zero analysis. And then we have Sam. Sam constantly rushes, doesn't read the prompt properly, and completely misses the command word requirements. We are going to look at their exact mistakes and, more importantly, we're going to fix them, live, together.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our exact roadmap for today's exclusive Examiner's Masterclass. We'll start with the 15% challenge to set the stage. Then we'll move into mastering the core principles. From there, we'll break down the technical methodology you need to use. After that, I'll reveal the top 3 examiner warnings. These are the traps you must avoid. And finally, we'll wrap up with the ultimate system: deconstruct, solve, and evaluate. So, let's kick things off with Section 1, the 15% challenge, focusing specifically on Topic 2.3, utility software.
Topic 2.3 is a domain where so many students feel incredibly overconfident. They walk in thinking, come on, I know how a computer works. I've deleted files before. I've copied a folder. This is easy. But listen to me. This overconfidence is exactly why the distinction between key terminology trips up thousands of candidates every single year. The exam does not want a layman's definition. It demands absolute technical precision. There are 4 big ones we need to tackle: disk defragmentation, formatting, file copying, and deleting files. Now, these 4 utility concepts might seem incredibly simple on the surface, but let me tell you, the exam demands strict precision and causal relationships rather than just rote memorization. Let's take our student Alex for example. If an exam asks him to explain disk defragmentation, Alex confidently writes, "It organizes files so the computer goes faster." That is a completely flawed raw fact dump. It earns almost 0 marks because it lacks depth. A top-tier student doesn't just define what it is, they explain the causal relationship. They explain that defragmentation physically moves fragmented data blocks into contiguous sectors on a hard drive. And why does that matter? Because it causally reduces the physical movement of the read-write head, thereby decreasing seek time and increasing data retrieval speed. Do you see the difference there? It's night and day. We are chipping away the superficial conversational explanation to reveal the precise mechanical reality that the examiners are begging for.
Moving right along to Section 2, mastering the core principles and assessment frameworks. And hey, before we continue, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon right now. Okay, let's get into the frameworks.
Visually, there is a stark, undeniable difference between failing and excelling in this paper. Let's look at superficial breadth first. This is our student Sam. Sam rushes through questions. He sees the word formatting in a prompt, his eyes light up, and he just writes down literally everything he knows about USB drives without actually reading the context of the question. He gives this wide, shallow answer that completely misses the mark. Contrast that with analytical depth. Academic benchmarks for these IT topics require logical, highly structured reasoning. The Cambridge Assessment Framework prioritizes deep analysis of a specific scenario over a broad generic summary. So when you are asked about formatting, you aren't just defining the creation of a file system like FAT32 or NTFS. No, You are analyzing how formatting prepares a disk structure for initial use, and crucially, how that directly impacts subsequent file copying and deleting operations for the specific business mentioned in the prompt. It's about depth, not just dropping acronyms.
So the golden question is, how do we actually achieve that analytical depth? By rigidly adhering to these 4 pillars. Principal examiner reports definitively prove that candidates who link utility software to other syllabus areas achieve significantly higher marks. This means using precise definitions, mapping clear causal relationships, and establishing cross-topic connections. And this perfectly aligns with the Peel framework. If you don't know Peel, write this down. Point, evidence, explanation, link. First, make your point with a precise technical definition. Second, provide evidence pulled directly from the given scenario in the exam prompt. Third, deliver your explanation by clearly outlining the causal relationship. And finally, link it. Make those cross-topic connections. For instance, linking disk defragmentation directly to the topic of hardware performance or even data security. If you use Peel, it automatically covers knowledge, application, and analysis, all neatly packaged in one perfectly sculpted paragraph. It's basically a cheat code for top marks.
All right, let's transition into Section 3, the technical methodology and professional skills.
Here is where we learn about one of the absolute most powerful concepts in Cambridge exam strategy. It's called the method mark strategy. You see, examiners award marks for the analytical process itself, not just the final destination or the final answer. You have to prove to them exactly how your brain got from reading the question to producing the answer. Let's break down the strict conventions of what examiners expect when you're presenting those answers. Utility software presentation requires the professional application of formats, data interpretation, and relationship analysis. What does it actually mean for you? It means if you are given a chart showing seat times before and after defragmentation, you must professionally interpret that data. You absolutely cannot lose marks on sloppy execution. Our student Alex? He loses marks here all the time because his handwriting is messy, he refuses to use paragraphs, and he just completely ignores the data table provided. We have to be professionals. This is your ultimate success blueprint. Treat the exam paper like you are writing a professional technical report for a high-paying client.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Proper headings, clear annotation, that sounds so boring. But these conventions aren't just boring rules. They are a literal exam hack. They secure vital marks by showing you can correctly extract data from texts and tables. I want to do a quick mental challenge with you right now. Imagine a complex data table in front of you, showing network file transfer speeds dropping over time. Don't just write, "It's slowed down." That's what Sam would do. Instead, use correct terminology. Network latency increased as packet sizes exceeded the bandwidth threshold. Boom! You are using appropriate formats, perhaps a comparative list or a short structured Peel paragraph with proper headings and clear annotations. This is exactly how you sculpt an answer that examiners actually want to read and, more importantly, want to give marks to. Which brings us to Section 4, Top 3 Examiner Warnings and exactly what not to do. But real quick, stop scrolling. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. We've helped thousands of students improve by 2 to 3 grade boundaries. Join them right now by subscribing to @acetheexams_IGCSE and turn on all notifications so you never miss our weekly exam strategy sessions.
So, back to the strategy. I want to pose this question directly to you to foster some active engagement. Why do you think students lose easy marks? Think about your own recent mock exams for a second. Be honest with yourself. Was it because you genuinely didn't know the material, or was it because of how you delivered it on the page? Let's decode the most common traps together, straight from the examiner's mouth.
Let's walk through these 3 sequential pitfalls that destroy grades. Trap number 1, wrong context approach. The exam question sets up a detailed scenario about a large corporate database server, but you write an answer about a home gaming PC. You've completely ignored the context, so your points on utility software, even if technically true, are irrelevant and score 0. Trap number 2, forgetting format. The command word explicitly says list and explain, but Sam, our rushing student, just writes a massive unformatted block of text. The examiner explicitly wanted a structured list. You didn't give it to them, you lose the marks. Trap number 3, not specific to context. This is when you just regurgitate a memorized textbook definition of deleting files, like simply removing the file pointer from the directory, but you completely fail to specify how that impacts the specific company's data privacy compliance mentioned in the prompt. Let's do another quick challenge right now. Find the flaw. If an exam answer says, formatting is used to delete all viruses from the computer, what is the flaw? Think about it. The flaw is that it's fundamentally incorrect terminology and it's not specific. Formatting creates a new file system, and yeah, while it erases data pointers, it is absolutely not an antivirus utility. You must be precise.
All right, let's bring it all home with Section 5, Deconstruct, Solve, and Evaluate, the ultimate framework.
This brilliantly illustrates exactly why we need a systematic approach. When you flip the page and are faced with a terrifying 8-mark or 12-mark question on paper 2, this is the ultimate problem-solving framework that guarantees those higher-order marks. Let's narrate each step so you can memorize the flow. Step 1. Identify given information. Grab your pen and highlight the command words in the scenario context immediately. Step 2. Break it into logical steps using our Peel framework. Step 3. Solve systematically. If the question asks how to optimize a sluggish computer system, systematically suggest disk defragmentation for HDD read speeds, then formatting to clear corrupt file systems, and finally deleting redundant files to free up absolute storage. Step 4. Check for reasonableness. Take a breath and ask, does my answer actually make sense in the real world? Step 5. Make justified recommendations. Now, I want to challenge you right now with a speed writing task. If you have 30 seconds on the clock, can you write one perfect Peel paragraph justifying why a company should use file copying utilities for daily backups? Yes, you can. Point. File copying utilities automate data replication. Evidence. Scheduled batch transfers to external servers. Explanation. This prevents data loss during hardware failure. Link, thereby ensuring business continuity. That took me 15 seconds to say, and it is structured to guarantee maximum marks. You're chipping away the panic and logically assembling a masterpiece.
Now, a major part of that evaluation step we just talked about involves comparison. Many students lose crucial marks here because they only ever give half the picture. A true comparative analysis requires identifying both similarities and differences. If an exam question asks you to compare disk defragmentation and file deletion as methods of managing storage space, you must use comparative connectives. You'd write something like, whereas deleting files permanently removes the directory pointer to free up total capacity, disk defragmentation, conversely, does not increase total capacity, but rather reorganizes existing data into contiguous blocks to improve access speeds. Similarly, both are system utility software managed by the operating system. Do you hear how professional that sounds? You need concrete evidence to draw these conclusions about relative importance.
I want to deliver this next point with absolute gravity. Please listen to this direct insight from a senior examiner. Method marks can save you. Even if your final answer is wrong, always show you're working. Let me translate that for you. When tackling complex examination questions on utility software, if you deconstruct the question, extract the relevant data, select an analytical framework like PELL, execute with clear notation, and present it all with correct terminology, even if your final justified recommendation is slightly off base, the examiner will still reward you for the process. Showing your structured working is your ultimate safety net in that high-pressure exam room. Do not just put down a final conclusion and hope for the best. Show the sculptor's deliberate strikes that got you there.
We are reaching the end of our masterclass today. And the hard truth is this: students who actually implement these specific information technology strategies see an average improvement of 2 to 3 grade boundaries. But only if they practice consistently with our weekly videos. Don't let another exam pass you by relying on Sam's rushed habits or Alex's unstructured fact dumps. Practice consistently. Here's your final reminder. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCS to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Subscribe right now to at acetheexams_IGCS and click that bell. Don't let another exam pass you by. I want to leave you with this final thought. You now possess the blueprint. You know exactly what the assessment objectives are, you understand the power of the Peel framework, and you know how to leverage the method mark strategy. The only variable left in this equation is you and your application of this knowledge. So, drop a comment below with your target grade for information technology and the biggest challenge you're facing right now. Our team responds to every comment. Like and share this video with a study partner. Start chipping away those bad habits today, apply the sculptor's method, and craft your masterpiece. Ace the Exams, your Cambridge success starts here.